Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about another Gemini. They're just so popular. And instead of Donald Trump, we're going to be talking about Kanye West. So let's jump into it. I'm going to throw up my Instagram and my Snapchat. If you want to message me about a personal natal chart reading or a couple's synastry reading, go ahead and DM me on here or on my Instagram and hit me up, and I'd love to do it for you. So the way that we're going to do this video is a little different than the last one. In my last video, I went through every single one of his planets and what house they were in and what sign they were in. This time I'm going to go over the big three: the sun, the moon, and the ascending, a few of his most important aspects, which I didn't cover at all in the Donald Trump chart, and also his second and fourth quadrant, which are the most full ones in his chart. So I know that doesn't make a lot of sense right now, but we're just going to jump into it. So we're going to start with his sun sign, which is in the 12th house, and it is Gemini. So Kanye, just like Donald Trump, is a Gemini, and Geminis are a whole lot of fun. They're get kind of a bad rap for being a little crazy. They're an air sign, and Gemini is known as the twins. That's their symbol, and this often gets them the reputation of being bipolar. No coincidence that Kanye West actually is. Or, split personality. That's how a lot of people describe them. And I've met a lot of Geminis, and I don't think it's split personality. I think it's like 10 personalities, but anywho. So having a sun in Gemini means that you're going to want like I said in the Donald Trump video, a finger in every pie. In your career, you're going to want more than one of everything. You're going to want pretty much exactly what Kanye's done. He's in fashion, he's got a Sunday service going on, and he's, a rapper and a producer. He's all over the place. And this also means that they are gonna want not just more than one career, but more than one lover, more than one snack, more than one kid. They're gonna want the best of all worlds. Also, this means that because they have a finger in every pie, they'll leave a lot of tasks unfinished. Most Geminis are into like 15 different hobbies, and they rarely master one thing. The way that people describe them best is they know a little about everything, but a lot about nothing. And that's just true to a T, I think, for Geminis. Now, having his sun in the 12th house means that your 12th house is the house of self-undoing, death. It's the last house, so it's kind of what you're going to go through your entire life struggling with. Sorry, I'm talking a lot with my hands because I don't really know what else to do with them, so just like stare at my nails. I don't know. But so having the sun sign, your sun sign in your 12th house, means that your ego, which is pretty much what the sun sign is, Leo is ruled by the sun, and Leo is like the sign of big egos. It means that your ego is going to be something that you struggle with your entire life. It's going to be kind of what brings you down. And I think we can all agree that Kanye, his ego has definitely been a struggle for him. Now, he has an aspect that relates to that as well. Let me find it real quick. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes, so just like bear with me for a second, you guys. So he has a Sun-Jupiter conjunct, which goes along with this sun in the 12th house ego issue. Your sun, like I said, the planet of ego, and Jupiter's the planet of expansion, which means that his ego is going to be mega expanded. And that makes sense as to why it's such an issue for him in his life. So next we're going to go on to his moon. His moon is in the 9th house, which is the house of, so it's the house of mental exploration. Sorry guys, my bad. And the moon is the planet of emotions and your subconscious. It's kind of who you are on the inside. So his moon is in Pisces, which already has a natural affinity because Pisces is a water sign. It's a very emotional sign. It's actually known as the sign of sorrow and self-undoing. So if you're a Pisces, sorry, there's hair in my lip gloss. If you're a Pisces and you're watching this and you're kind of a sad girl or boy, comment, let me know. But I have been great friends with a lot of Pisces, and while they have their demons, they're also a lot of fun and some of the funniest people I've ever met. So keep doing what you're doing, Pisces. So because it's an emotional planet, I'm going to say planet for the moon for lack of a better word, and an emotional sign, it has a natural affinity, and it's kind of an easygoing aspect to have. This means that this person's going to be very artistic and have a love of beauty. Pisces are very creative, and so that makes sense because Kanye West at the end of the day is an artist. Pisces are also very indecisive. He's going to have a hard time sticking to one thing, and I think the Sun in Gemini probably doesn't help that when it comes to being all over the place. This also is a very strong emotional aspect because you have the planet of emotions, like I said, and the super emotional sign, which means you're going to have a really hard time living in reality. You're going to have a hard time realizing that, yes, your feelings are real, but they're not reality. Everything that you feel is going to feel extremely real, more so than most people. And I think Kanye has expressed that a lot, that he's had issues with his emotions. He's diagnosed bipolar.
So I'm editing the video right now, and I really don't want it to come across like I'm trying to say that mental illness or bipolar disorder is explained through astrology. I know that these are real serious struggles that people deal with every day, and I'm not trying to minimize that at all. This is just worded a little bit insensitively, but I total respect for those people who deal with that every day, and I know it's a struggle, so thanks for watching.
You know, he's had emotional issues. He's one to snap. He's one to lead with his emotions, not logic. This placement also is really interesting because it says you are likely to benefit in your career from finances with your in-laws.
Yo, why would you say that? Like, you put me in such an uncomfortable situation. Like, you know I'm not happy.
And I think this is actually, he has another placement too that says that he's likely to benefit through an inheritance or through his marriage. So the family that he marries into is definitely important for his career, and I think that's, you know, hit the nail on the head for Kanye, because the Kardashians, it's no secret, they're career makers. Not that Kanye was not on his own, because he was. I'm a huge Kanye fan. I love you, Kanye. Like, but you know, it definitely helped. They gave each other clout, and that's for sure. So we did the moon. Now we're going to talk about his ascending sign. So your sun's your personality, your moon is who you are inside, and your ascending is how you come across to the rest of the world, you know, how they perceive you. So his ascending is in Cancer, and I just want to elaborate how crazy this big three is to have a Gemini, a Pisces, and a Cancer. There's a lot of strong emotions going on for someone with this much going on. Cancer is a water sign, and just like Pisces, they're very emotional. Even people who don't know a lot about astrology are probably going to know that Cancers are crybabies, Cancers are emotional, and I wouldn't say they're emotional, but they express every single thing they're feeling. We don't really have a filter on their emotions. They are gonna put it all out there, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love a Cancer. I'm a Leo. I love my Cancers. Y'all are great. So this means that this person's gonna be very adaptable to different types of people because they can read their emotions. And it's also gonna make them very keen to a business mind because they're going to be able to figure out where people are coming from on an emotional level. They're gonna be able to tune into people's motivations very well. So in a business setting where most people are, especially in the music industry, straight up psychopaths and emotional manipulators, someone with an ascending in Cancer, they're going to be able to tune into that and realize when they're getting bullshitted most of the time. So next we are going to talk about his second quadrant. So your chart is a big pie, and it's split into 4 quadrants and 12 houses and 12 signs, and it's really complex. If you guys want me to do a video just breaking down what a natal chart is and how to read one, let me know. I just don't want to add on an extra 15 minutes to this video explaining it, but that might be something that I do. So in another video. So let's talk about his second quadrant.
Oh hell no!
So he has Uranus in his second quadrant, which is in the 4th house. Now the 4th house is the house of childhood and upbringing, and to have Uranus in it is kind of interesting because it's kind of a crazy planet. Whatever house your Uranus is in is probably going to be a little rocky because it's so all over the place. Now, because it's in Scorpio, means that he's going to have very good intuition. Any Scorpio placement is going to have this. They're almost borderline psychic depending on where the aspect is. I'm a lunar Scorpio, and let me tell you, I know what's going down.
Okay.
So this also means that the person's going to be very stubborn and shrewd, and they're probably going to have a very different childhood than their friends and people around them. And I'm sure that's true for Kanye because a lot of people in his industry, you know, in Calabasas, came from very, you know, affluent upbringings, and he came from, you know, Chicago in a middle-class neighborhood, which I'm sure is much more normal than most of the people around him. Now, he also has an aspect that goes with this. So he has a Uranus-Pluto square, and if you guys don't know what aspects are in your chart, it's just the way that your planets and asteroids and all that kind of line up, and they all mean different things. I'm not going to go over every single one of its aspects because this would be a 2-hour-long video and we don't have time for that, but this one, I wrote down some of the most interesting ones. So this aspect basically means you want a revolution, you want social change, and you're very prone to that sort of energy in your own life. You're very prone to getting up and throwing everything away impulsively, or, you know, his TMZ interview, his Life of Pablo tour where he just canceled it all, that actually lined up perfectly with when the sky was in the Uranus-Pluto square just like the night he was born, and I don't believe that that is any coincidence. His Neptune in Sagittarius. Now this is a social planet, which means that most of your planets are unique to you, but the ones further out take much longer to go around the sun, which means they take much longer to change houses and signs. So Neptune was in Sagittarius from 1970 to 1984, and what's really interesting about this is that Sagittarius is the sign of travel, higher learning, and wanderlust. And 1970 to 1984, this whole generation had much more access to learning, to travel, to foreign countries, because by no coincidence, the World Wide Web came about. Now, having this aspect made a generation of people who had a very visionary outlook and a desire to change humanity. This generation is going to be ones who are looking to help third world countries, who are looking to do something bigger than themselves. And I think his Sunday service expresses a lot of that, wanting to change, wanting to be, you know, I don't want to say higher power because I don't think he thinks he's God, but he wants he wants to share the message. He wants to do God's will. All right, so next we are going to talk about his fourth quadrant, which is the most full quadrant in his chart. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. His fourth is jam-packed full, and this makes the most sense because the fourth quadrant is about how you integrate with society. And the fact that it's so full makes sense because whether you like him or not, he's a household name. He's famous, he's a celebrity. He is integrated into society. So he has multiple planets here, and this is the 10th house, 11th, and 12th house. 10th, 11th, and 12th house. So your 10th house is your house of career, and what's really interesting about this is he has Venus in this 10th house. Now, Venus is the love planet, but it's also friendships and your other relationships. And the fact that this is in his house of career makes no coincidence that Kim, his wife, has really helped his career, and much like he has helped hers. And this was the other aspect I was talking about earlier, where it said that his he was going to receive financial help from his marriage, just like the other one said he was going to receive career and financial help from his in-laws. No coincidence there that he married into the Kardashians, one of the Kennedys of our generation. I hate to say that, but like, you know. So next we're going to talk about Mars, which is the planet of action and emotion. And the fact that Mars is in his house of career is really interesting because it means that no matter what he's doing, no matter what decisions in life or actions he's taking, it's always going to be to work towards his career in some way. And I think that's really true. His marriage helped his career. You know, all the decisions he makes, even the crazy stuff that Kanye does. Love you, Kanye, but you are a little crazy, which is okay. It's why we love you. It's why I relate to you so much. You know, it's all a lot of people have thought, well, is it a publicity stunt? Because usually whether he knows it or not, that action is going to help his career in some way. They have also, this position has an ability to manifest almost anything. And that's a really powerful thing to have because it is the planet of action, the planet of drive, the planet of emotion. Not like your moon though, it's completely different. It's going to mean that if it's in the house of career, he's going to be able to think something up and manifest it. Clothing line, did it. You know, he was a producer. People told him he couldn't rap. He did it. And he, you know, being one of the most successful artists of all time. Whether you want to believe it or not, look at his Grammys. Look at his Grammys. So next we're going to talk about the 11th house, which is the house of hopes, wishes, and friends. And in here he has Mercury and Jupiter. Mercury is the communication planet, and having this in your 11th house, I think really solidifies it. He's going to be, whatever he says is going to reach to the masses. It's going to reach to a large social scale. And that is because he's famous. His chart kind of set him up for this. Jupiter in Gemini in the 11th house is interesting because Jupiter, the planet of expansion, being in the house of hopes and wishes means that whatever he's wishing for, it goes into that manifestation with Mars. Whatever he wishes for, he's going to be able to expand on. And I think that's definitely true with Kanye. He's, you know, whatever he's set out to do, he's really done and succeeded at most of the time. I'm trying to think of a time when he hasn't, and I can't really think of it. He saw Kim, he said, I'm gonna get her. He was a producer and he was like, I want to be a rapper. He did it. He wanted to start a Sunday service in his home. He did it, and it's so successful now that he has to find a bigger location. So that definitely goes into that manifestation. But that's just a little, you know, snippet of a natal chart. I could go into so much more detail, but this would literally be like an hour-long video, and I don't want it to be that long. So I just wanted to hit some key points, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have someone that you want me to do next, comment below, and I would love to do it. If you want a personal reading or a couples synastry report, go ahead and DM me. I would love to do it for you. Yeah, okay, well, thanks for watching. Till next time, goodbye.